Hello, everyone. This is a short clip from SMQ where he talks about avatar switch or swap reality. You'll notice at 3 minutes and 30 seconds in, a high-pitched voice plays for about a second and a half, and then he questions it. Hello? Like he could hear it. And I could hear it, but I couldn't quite make it out. So at the very end of this clip, I copied it and pasted it in an extended version. I took that like second and a half clip and extended it to about 3.5 seconds. So it's a little more audible. Make of it what you wish. In the years that I've listened to SMQ live, there were a number of odd things happen like this, like glitches and squawks, and almost like a reactive element was manifesting. Have a good week, everyone.
Okay, so I mentioned on Twitter earlier today about Chick's show that I was listening to last night, her live show, and I found it to be really inspiring. And I was riding my bike earlier today for exercise, and I had this really incredible idea. And the idea about the Mandela effect is this. Chick had mentioned that perhaps we're avatars. So I started to think about us jumping in and out of our bodies as avatars. And we know that there are different versions of existence, right? There's different versions of reality. And we also know that there's NPCs. So I was thinking about like the golden ratio. And I was thinking about perhaps how there's always like an underlying balance in the universe. There's always an underlying balance in everything. And it's always based off of a basic mathematical property, whether we talk about the Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio, the golden mean, all of those things. And I started to think about what if we can solve the problem of the NPC inside the Mandela effect community by using Chick's idea of the avatar? So we know that there are multiple versions of reality. There's multiple versions of existence. So Chick mentioned that perhaps we jump into different avatars. So I'm proposing that during that shift, when we have a Mandela effect shift, we shift to another avatar of ourself. And there is only one true us, know thyself. So during the other periods of the other versions of reality, we become NPCs. And thus that's why we see slight differences, or our family will say that they've seen a change in us, or we've seen changes in our family. And thus it takes the idea of the NPC, which at its base was something that was dangerous or something that could potentially be used wrong. It suddenly elevates the NPC to someone that's incredibly important, because they are other MEs that are in just different versions of reality right now as we are. And they're shifting from avatar to avatar depending on what version of reality that they're in. So that means that the basic equations that rule and govern reality and existence as we know it suddenly becomes balanced again inside of the Mandela effect. And the only difference with the Mandela effect that we have to understand now is whether or not this occurred naturally or whether or not this was initiated. But this also still maintains the sanctity of an NPC, that they're as valuable as someone that's a conscious ME, that knows that they're an ME and is quote-unquote awake, or whatever it is we call ourselves. And that they're just as valuable, but they're in a... Hello? I had some kind of strange feedback. So, I think that was, that's it. That's the balance, and that's something we can talk about later today. And I think would be something that's really that's really worth thinking about it.
All right, we'll play the original anomaly and then play it again slowed. See if you can tell what's being said and perhaps put it in the comments below. Thank you.
But they're in a